In Parashas Beshalach, it is our custom to speak about Inyane Bitochon, Emuna, trust and faith in HaKadosh Baruch Hu. Today we have an amazing story. There was a Yid in Bnei Brak whose son was very, very sick. They took him to the hospital, and they said, the only way to save your son's life is to have the serious operation. And they did the operation, and Baruch Hashem, the son is recovering, still in the hospital. And in the morning after the operation, his father comes into the hospital to thank the doctor who took care of him. And he goes over and he says, Doctor, thank you so much. You were just the right shaliach at the right time. HaKadosh Baruch Hu sent you to save my son. Thank you so much. Really appreciate everything you did. And the doctor says, what are you talking about? What shaliach? What HaKadosh Baruch Hu? I saved your son's life. Your son is not the only one that I saved. I save kids all the time. HaKadosh Baruch Hu, what does he have to do with this? The guy says, what are you talking about? God saved my son's life. He sent you as the right person at the right time to do the right thing. The guy says, no. I'm in charge of this department for many years. Never seen God come in here. I'm in control in this hospital. God has no control here. The guy can't believe what he hears. And he starts arguing with the doctor. And they argue for 10 minutes, 20 minutes, half an hour, 2 hours straight. And after 2 hours, the doctor says to him, listen, if you really think God has any control, He's present, He's here, you have 24 hours to prove it to me. The guy leaves the hospital and he starts thinking, what do? 24 hours, how do you prove to someone? So he decided to go to Maran Reb Chaim Kanievsky Shlita, and he told him the whole Maaseh. And Reb Chaim Kanievsky asked him, tell me, why did you argue with the doctor? Was it L'Shem Shamayim, for God's sake? Or on a personal level? You know how it is. You start arguing with someone, you want to make sure that you are victorious. And the father answers him and he says, I definitely started L'Shem Shamayim. How it evolved, I don't know. But I definitely started for HaKadosh Baruch Hu's sake. And Reb Chaim says, if that's the case, don't worry. Go home. The guy says, fine, but what do I say to the doctor tomorrow morning? Don't worry, Reb Chaim says to him. Go home, everything will be okay. The father hears this from Reb Chaim, so he goes home. He goes to sleep, and in the morning, 9 o'clock in the morning, there's a phone call. Please come fast to the hospital. So this father runs back to the hospital, and he goes to the nurse, and he says, is my son okay? She says, yeah, sure, he's fine. He's recovering, he's fine. Why do you ask? He says, well, you called me and you said that I should come here fast. So the nurse says, I didn't call you. So who called me? Asks the father. And she says, I don't know. Go ask the head nurse. So he goes to her and he says to her, is my son okay? She says, yeah, everything seems okay. Don't be worried. The father says, so why did you call me and tell me to come? And fast. And she says, I didn't call you. So who called me? I don't know. Go ask the doctor. So this father goes into the doctor's office and he says, Doctor, did you call me and ask me to come here? He says, yes, it was me. Is my son okay? Yes, your son is doing fine. So why did you call me? So the doctor says, you remember yesterday when we were discussing, yes, God, no, God. You are right. You are right. Father says, what are you talking about? Did God call you last night? How did you realize? How did you figure out? Yes, I'm right. There is a God and He is in control. And the doctor says, if you don't mind, please close the door and sit down. The father closes the door, sits down. And the doctor lowers his voice. And he says to him, I'm 60-year-old. I'm the top doctor here. Been the top doctor for many years. But last night, I wet my bed. Never happened to me before. God showed me that He is in control. I'm not in control even of those little things. Thank God that this doctor had some brains to figure out the connection between the two, to hear the message. We always have messages. God is always talking to us, showing us things. We just have to open our eyes to see the connection and to know. But God is in charge of every single thing. God is in control. We just try to do His will.